NBA draft sickos, we're back. It's tape time. We're going to be looking at some of the top draft prospects, what stands out with their games, and what makes them such an intriguing talent in this 2026 NBA draft class. We don't need to beat around the bush. You know what it is. Today, Kingston Flemings, Houston, 6'4", freshman guard, really talented. One guy I think that's going to be cementing himself as a top 5 prospect in this class. Let me show you why. Let's hit that music. All right, boys and girls, it's tape time. We're back. Today we're talking about Kingston Flemings, one of my favorite guards since the beginning of the year. Freshman at Houston, 6'4". Flemings is a special talent, one that I think is really making a name for himself as being potentially one of the top point guards in this class. First, we're gonna get a little look at just how dangerous Kingston can be when it comes to his playmaking ability, his quick reads, his decisiveness. Great action up here, and you see a great find from Kingston, but I think when you slow this one down, this is just kind of like the beauty when it comes to Kingston's game. So it's just one of these actions where, obviously through the Cincinnati game, they're running a couple different looks at him, some zones, some matchup sets to try to get Houston to slow down. But I think this is the processing and type of stuff you like to see from Kingston. He's always surveying the floor, not rushing the issue too much, but he's also just patient and he's poised and he knows like, okay, if that first look's not there right away, let me move it. Let me try to, dissect the defense and see where the opening's going to eventually present itself. One of my things I love about Kingston is he'll constantly point when it comes to like, hey, I want a screen. A lot of times he's not automatically going to use that side. Now, you're going to see that went throughout this tape time. Like a couple times he almost points to kind of get the defender to like, hey, I'm going to go this way. Instead, perfect example here. Notice Kingston was asking for it right here on the left. He attacks right. Big man, you can see right there is even reading it. Look at both Cincinnati guys think, okay, it's going to go this way. Instead, their momentum's going that way. Kingston attacks, gets the defense to bite, analyzes. Look at Milos Uzan trail into the corner or float into the corner. Fade, whatever you want to say. Great bullet pass on the money. Splash. One of my favorite things about Kingston is not just the speed. He's lightning in a bottle in the half court, but he's got great gears and ability to react to the defense on the fly. Beautiful play right there. You see the attack and the finish by Chris Sinak. I think what Kingston has is a lot of times we talk with these ball handlers like, all right, they have elite speed, but it's like you want to be able to use that speed and change gears to set up the defense. So Kingston's got a great ability of like, okay, he always has an extra gear or two kind of in his bag and in the back pocket, if you want to put it that way, that he knows like, hey, in worst case scenario, or if I really need it, I can pull that extra 6th gear. But his 5th, 4th gear sometimes is enough to kind of blow by defenses. So great ability here from Kingston to just, what we like to do is you create your own window without being too fancy. So, I mean, this is just a quick like, oh, this is just an elite first step. Defense is, the big man's trying to stay, but he's like, I got to also stay with my man. So Kingston sees this lane. Now you got, Baba Miller under the hoop who's got to make a decision. Do I stop ball or do I stay with my man? Baba chooses to try to stop the ball. And Kingston analyzes this perfectly for a nice little alley-oop to Chris Sinak. I love this sequence here from Kingston Flemings. Just in that last clip, I was talking about like, hey, he always has that extra gear if he really needs to pull it out to create a little bit extra separation. He knows when to utilize it. This is a great example of that. You see him coming off, little slight hesitation, gets to the free throw line. But like that's kind of the perfect example of what I'm talking about with Kingston. Milos Uzan's going to eventually find Kingston here on the perimeter. After he gets it to Sinak, we're going to move the ball over. Kingston gets it. All right, here we go. Let me kind of set up the defense first with that initial hesitation. Kind of see what everyone does to react. Sinak with a great little screen right there. Then Kingston puts it down and he's going to work. But sometimes you just kind of see like, okay, I can push it right there. You can see that to get that extra momentum. We're still getting to the free throw line. That's a great play. Poise, control. It's something that you're going to hear me talk about a lot with Kingston. That's why he stands out to me. You'll see the poise and control. He tries to force it. He waits for a defense to create that opening for a pass. It's a great little two-man game with Flemings, who analyzes this first look might not be there, so let me stay with it. Okay, I don't like what I see. Let me use that screen again. Now you get the defense is all mixed up. I mean, look where Baba Miller starts on Sanak for this initial screen. He's trying to play retreat in case of the drive. And then Kingston saying, let me set you up one more time. Now, I mean, look where Baba Miller started. He's in a good spot. Now, all of a sudden, just from Kingston, look how much further out. This is why it's a beautiful patience as a guard to just trust the play. Don't force it too quickly. Look, the little things, this doesn't end up in a make, but the little things matter to me when you're watching the processing and timing and vision of a point guard. So Kingston gets a little on-ball action, go screen from Emmanuel Sharp, who pops out, doesn't make that. Just looks like a, hey, wide open miss. We're getting the ball back. But when you slow this down, I think you see the processing time from Kingston, which is great. Now, he gets that on-ball. You don't want to pass this too early and potentially give time for, this help defender over here on Milos Uzan to react, or the big man to get back into the play. So Kingston waits to that proper moment where it's like, okay, I analyze now, two guys are stuck with me. Manuel's got a wide open shot, and if you pass that too early, that window is gone. So the fact that he waits till that right timing, that's when you get a wide open look for Sharp, who's been a great shooter for them this year, just doesn't fall. Kingston is a maestro of the mid-range, and now I know there's going to be a lot of fans out there that'll be like, hey, want him to shoot more threes. Well, this is my counter. He understands how to get to his spots. That's my favorite thing with Flemings as a guard at the next level. Like, this is a great understanding, and you see this a lot throughout the year, even in the beginning of the year. He understands how to find his spots, be patient. If he attacks and, the defense reacts, Kingston does a great job of being like, okay, let's keep moving it. Maybe I can get a better look. So doesn't force the issue too much, but he also knows how to set people up and work to get to his spots for good looks. So, we get Cincinnati's trying to kind of extend the defense a little bit right here. Milos Uzan with a pick and roll. Kingston, watch the body control for this point guard. Like, this is why it's one thing to be quick. It's another thing to have great footwork, great balance, and be able to use your speed and balance with hesitations to just be a nightmare defensively. So look at this. Kingston off the catch. Good step. Good hesitation right there. Gets the defense to go with momentum. Great pull-up. It's a tough play to defend. We'll play that full speed. Catch, step, hesitation, analyze, pull up on a dime. Beautiful. And this is a great example of just like the quickness, but the quickness and processing. Kingston's going to get this, try to attack, live dribble, left hand, bullet to Milos Uzan. That's great stuff. When we slow that down, you even appreciate it more. Like, okay, he's had a couple blow-bys in this game. He gets walled off right away. Look at Kurt Kriisa on Cincinnati. He's trying to be like, okay, I got to stay here for this Kingston drive in case. Uzan, again, great job, kind of fade into that wing, makes that pass possible. And we get a splash. Little things. Now, we're going to talk a lot about defense, too, with Kingston, and I wanted to kind of spotlight this because it's really exciting for like kind of what his gifts bring on the offensive side of the ball. But I think the defense is what makes him special, what makes him a potential franchise floor general and two-way talent. So let's just start this from the beginning. Like, Kingston has violent hands. Violent hands. But what he also has is incredible quickness that he doesn't just use offensively. This is why, as a scout, we love to see players go to certain systems, certain coaching staffs. Kelvin Sampson and Houston, were fantastic for not only Kingston, but a lot of their young players. We get Cincinnati kind of trying to run a little pick and roll high, but Kingston analyzes this quick. Look at the feet, and then the activity and awareness and anticipation to kind of read this pass coming. Like, his lower body and footwork on both sides of the ball is fantastic, but Kingston has explosiveness to get up and get a lot of these tips, deflections, passes. He's so good at analyzing and timing when these looks should be happening. There's a lot of special tools on the defensive side of the ball. Let's play that full speed. Just great awareness and footwork and sliding your feet. Love that. I love the two-way ability of Kingston. This is why he's a top 5 player for me. Cincinnati's trying to run a set. Kingston just staying alert, staying alert, staying alert. Stay down in your stance. We love this. Keep your feet active. Great dig. Getting on the floor like this is just everything you want to see from a young guard. And look at, when we slow this down, I want you to see how much space he covers on this dig opportunity. So here we go. We're trying to pass to Cincinnati. Look at where Kingston is right now when that pass is going away. Almost at the top of the key, a little bit faded over. Look at how much ground he covers with this dig. I mean, that's looking like a potential, if we pause this right here, Kingston's not there. We're looking at potential, big man coming over right now for a potential dump off or maybe either a 2-on-1 underneath the hoop or a dunk. Instead, so rewind that a little bit. Kingston digs, gets a hand on the ball, strip on the ground right away. I mean, that's just fantastic. I'm going to play that full speed. That's just fantastic timing, effort, and you love to see the instincts on the defensive side of the ball, like work, dig, tip, on the ground, fighting for it. This plays the goods. If you're looking for Kingston Flemings for your team, maybe to look at him, I love this play, the sequence entirely from Kingston, because I think it shows like, all right, great first look, stay alert with the play. You see there, he ends up getting that bucket, but right away, 2-man game, hit Sinak. Kingston's going to fade to the corner here, right after trying to set the screen, read the play, get to your spots, good gather, jump stop. That's his shot. He loves that little fade. You're going to see him go to it all the time, and it's such a weapon for him because of his athleticism. Bucket. Timing. You see this a lot with transition with Kingston Flemings. There's timing, anticipation, feeling the floor, the flow of the game. Like, I love this attack opportunity. Keep your head up. Isaiah Harwell on the perimeter splash, but that's just, it's understanding the flow of the game. Like, Milos gives him the ball right here. You don't look like you have him much, so don't force this. Get a high percentage shot. All right, analyze. Tugler's coming. We don't have a pass there. Milos is going to be behind me. Instead, head up. Harwell in motion. Beautiful decision. All right, I want to spotlight a couple more games here. So this is UCF. We talked earlier about just like, hey, he can work to get to his spots, stop on a dime, and I spotlighted that kind of elbow or that little midi fadeaway he has in the mid-range. That's Kingston's bread and butter. We're going to get a good look at it too. So nice little action there. Kingston reads the floor, looks smothered, but this is what makes Kingston Fleming such a dangerous player on the offensive side of the ball. Like, he understands how to create a window. Even if you're smothering him at that last second, he understands how to create enough separation. Looks like he gets Riley Kugel up here. Great little footwork to kind of sell it. And then Kugel looks like he's got him. But that's all the separation Kingston needs to get to his spot. You just love to see it. We're getting a defense sequence here. And watch the two-way sequence we get here. So Kingston's got Riley Kugel coming. Drives, strip. Sinak looks him, runs the break, gets it, finish. With touch, that's great. Let's slow that down. This is what you're going to see so many times with this kid on tape. Like, he is fantastic he has cobra-like hands. He attacks like a cobra. Great job of walling off right there from Kingston. He's going to read this play. You want to put your body up so you wall off, and also keep your hands up so you're not getting cheap reach fouls. So Kingston does a great job of that. Like, trusting your feet, slide your feet. And then he does a great job of timing this. See how his hands switch too? Like, if you reach with that right hand, ref's probably going to call it. He's right there staring at it. So instead, Kingston switches, goes right for the left hand, strip. And immediately when he strips that, look at his eyes. He's gone. Out the gate. Sinak hits him. Great job of getting that first defender off your body using with contact. Kugel almost gets it, but he secures this. Finish. If there's one thing I want Kingston to work on, and this is me being a little nitpicking, if you want to put it that way, that's what we do with scouting, is maybe just the closeouts. And this happens sometimes, but like, look, this is a great play though from Kingston overall. You watch the bottom of the screen. It's going to be down here in the corner. Just keep an eye on him. Now, we're getting a little horns or double screen action at the top. Kingston does a great job trying to tag the roller right here. And, even if you're a little, mouse in the house, Kingston's like, I don't care. I'm still going to work. So ball swings and just the closeout sometimes, like you see it so many times with some of these players, like just don't carry your momentum too aggressively one direction. Because if he does that, you set yourself up for an early, easy shot fake. But this is why I love Kingston Flemings. Like most guards, shot fake, you'd be toast right here. Instead, let's see what happens. Woo. That is recovery speed. And that's why the lower body, the quickness, the vision, the timing, and anticipation, it's the full package for Kingston. So he does a great job tagging. You see his eyes right away when that ball swings. Pass goes, he's looking and analyzing. Understands his teammate right here is coming back down to get back into play, but he doesn't leave too early because he doesn't want to leave him stranded. So Kingston times this perfectly. Like I said, little over anxious on the closeout, but that's okay. And instead recovers. Great timing with the strip right there, and we get it going the other way. All right, I wanted to spotlight these next two plays. Now stay with me. These next two plays are really interesting for a number of reasons. Now, when you're a young point guard, there's too many times where you can have fantastic vision, but you also need to understand at the time, like, hey, if you might get over anxious to throw this pass, but know your teammate, know their strengths, and this isn't a slander, but know who you're throwing the ball to. So if a guy might not be the best, catcher in the world, know that. Maybe throw a changeup instead of fastball. So Kingston's going to get a little bit of an on-ball screen here, tries to, get a double screen all of a sudden. He sees an opening. Boom. I mean, that is a rocket. Now, sometimes you might feel like you need to fit this in a really tight window, so you might put a little heat on it just to be like, okay, it's got to get there. If he's not going to catch it, I don't want, the UCF defense to be able to catch it. So, but you could argue though, like, hey, you had this. It's there. I think what happens in this one is Kingston's driving right now. He sees he's got a window, and look at the last line of defense on UCF still got his eyes on Kingston. Right when Kingston starts to throw this bullet, he's turning his head. So Kingston doesn't really have the time to adjust to, now he's all of a sudden out of control. See how he's just slightly like there he's starting to throw. It's almost like a chain reaction. You want to see a little bit of, softness on this instead of throwing a bullet, because we had a dunk right there. All right, now this is the next sequence I wanted to spotlight, because we just saw the last one where Kingston's throwing a fastball. Could have said like, hey, maybe throw a changeup here. We're going to get another perfect example of that. So, Kingston hits sharp, doesn't make it, regroup. Okay, let's see what we got here. 8.5, we want to get a good shot. We need Snack to catch that right away. But look at the difference though in the floor balance. So what I'm saying is the previous clip we saw Kingston's at the top, almost at the elbow. He's throwing a fastball in a really tight window. Here, we're trying to make something happen. He's got to throw a fastball here. Like, to get over this defense, he's got to throw a timing, and that is an unbelievable pass. That's where you throw your heater. Snack just got over anxious there, still gets it back. We're up for 2. But I love that. Like, okay, let me read the floor. Wait for my man to get up real quick. And knowing who you're throwing it to, knowing the floor, and knowing the play in which you need to bring this out of your back pocket. I think that's a great look. The other one was great too. It's just you got to know who you're throwing, and you're not throwing the ball to Jerry Rice in that moment. Love this two-way sequence here from Kingston. Here we get him crashing the glass, go up and get it. Beautiful. All right, let's see if we can make something happen in transition. Analyze the floor. Simple, but beautiful. Let's slow that down. So defensive rebound. All right. Analyze here. You see in the box score right there, we got an AO run. We're feeling good right now. Gym's about to blow up. We want to make sure we get a good shot. So Kingston does a great job of kind of surveying the defense. Looks like he's got a wall built. So it's like, okay, he might not have anywhere to go. We might have to pull this out and kind of run a set instead. Slight hesitation. Folks, it's the little details. Now watch the defense here when Kingston keeps this dribble alive. Watch the big man. Pound dribble right there. That foot goes up and just opens the entire world. for Kingston. And that's all it takes when you're a young guard that can really anticipate timing and vision. Like you get the last line of defense off balance and you anticipate it, that's all you need. Blow by, touch, beautiful. You see a lot of these athletes are young guards that are like really athletic, like guys that can finish at the rim with power, and they might be undersized, but look at their athletic pop. It's like, well, do they also have the lateral quickness? So it's like there's athleticism vertically, there's also athleticism getting horizontally. What I love about Kingston is he's got both, and they're both elite. He uses it not only on the offensive side of the ball, but he can use it defensively as well. That's what makes him a two-way player. So a great job of helping right here off this pass where Houston looks like they're kind of, oh my gosh, playing 4-on-3. Instead, Kingston stops this, doesn't give up on this too early. You know, he's reading the floor. That pass comes, stops it, because he's trying to buy time for Kristanak, who's at the top of the screen, to get back in this play. So Kingston does that, closes out hard, much better than what we were talking about earlier. That's much better balance, lower body balance. UCF's going to attack. Kingston stays right there, doesn't jump too early for that, and stays right at it to kind of get that block at the top. So let's just slow that down. Great job. Get him to go. Stay with it. Balance, timing. That's beautiful. We talked about this earlier. It's one of my favorite things he does. And I'm a master of the little things. I geek out on this stuff, but this is one of my favorite things. I call it the dummy screen. Kingston sells it. He does a great job of it. So, obviously UCF's trying to extend this little zone action and Houston staying patient, not forcing it too much. Here's Kingston with the ball up top. So Nat comes to set it. Instead, drive, kick, boom. But let's slow that down so we can really spotlight just the great stuff. So Kingston's going to get it. All right, looking around. There's not much. Kind of motions to Sharp, like get up here. Let's move this around. And then we get Snat coming right now. And then Kingston's pointing like, hey, come set it over here. So what's UCF expecting? All right, look at Biggs. They're all pointing like, we're going this way probably. Instead, Kingston, a quick blow by. And because of that, now UCF's like, oh, crap. Here we go. Off balance. Oop. Beautiful. There's fast, there's quick, and then there's just blow by. I love this from Kingston because you're going to see a number of times during his tape throughout the year and when he keeps playing moving forward that he does this. This is like one of his little secret weapons, if you want to say. Like he will kind of move with the ball handler and he catches passes on full sprint. It's an awesome little like side trick he pulls sometimes, but he knows his speed, so he'll catch this full momentum. It's like, look where the defender is right now. It's like, well, you can't recover to this. Defense is all of a sudden just like, what the heck? Just blew out of the gate. And Kingston gets downhill fast. It's something, I think when you're a young guard, you got to find little magic tricks, if you want to put it that way, that you can pull out whenever you want. But like Kingston, you'll see a number of times, like, we'll slow that down, rewind it a little bit. But Kingston will just, okay, full speed. Because like I said, his fifth gear is a lot better than some people's sixth. I love this. This is just playing at different speed. This is also just full composure, control. Houston was getting this in transition. They were trying to get an early look. Instead, Kingston slows it down. Houston's going to get a great look. So let's start that from the beginning. We get a stop on the other side. Here we go. Feeling good. We're closing this one out. First look's not there. A little out of control. Kingston instead. Okay, let's slow down. Let's slow down. You can see Sampson on the side calling out something. Be patient, and look at when we slow this down. I want you to watch who's guarding Kingston right now. I want you to watch this. He's going to read his eyes. Kingston's coming out. Little go screen. Watch Kingston reading Miller's man. Right when his hands are up. Bullet. Because he knows he's out of position. Splash. All right, this is earlier in the year. I got to see Houston and a number of teams at the Players Era Festival in person, and I wanted to go back and spotlight a couple of these plays because they just really stood out to me when I was trying to kind of buy in on Kingston as a player. We get him in transition and just a nice, tough take to the basket. What I love about Kingston is he's willing to do the dirty work. So Go be a rebounder, attacks. All right, now let me analyze. Looks like we got a 2-on-2 basically, but Kingston just goes right at it. Stay physical with the take, gather. Great job. He's going to the free throw line. Another perfect example of kind of what I was talking about earlier with like, this is Kingston's little magic trick. Watch, gonna catch it on the fly. Just a great rip. Finish with the left. That's beautiful. And this one isn't as aggressive as before, but you could just see he kind of uses this to float with, and it's like catch on the sixth gear right away. Finish with the left. I mean, I just love that. It's like a little detail that like, okay, when in doubt, if I catch my man sleeping, I can understand how to get him off balance, rip through, attack. And that's tough for any player to have to try to catch up to this. Like one, if you're helping here, I think this is Boswell or Gillespie. Sorry, off the top of my head, believe that's Boswell. But it's tough to dig and get back for any player. But having to do that with a burner who gets full speed right away on the rip through, you could just see kind of the body control that Kingston has, where it's like sixth gear, composed, finish. All right, this one's a showstopper. Kingston's up here taking the ball out of bounds. This is the playmaking division, the live action or live dribble dime ability he has. We get an on-ball screen with Tugler here. Great patience. Woof. That's to McCarty with that is just, I mean, we slow this down. It's just gorgeous. So Kingston up here, and this is a type of play that you'll see on the highlight mix or our front offices will be showing on replay. So Tugler right here. I love when guards don't aggressively always try to come off of this. I think it shows some poise of being like, okay, some guys don't shy away from like, if you're really going to stay here and try to double me, I can still be patient enough to get around, or I'm not in fear, basically. So this is the maturity for a young freshman guard. Like, okay, slight hesitation. Let me create more. And what I love about this is because of that, watch the last line of defense. Once Kingston hesitates here, watch this. Hesitate. Now he's got to come up more. So he's making, because Kingston waits that extra half second, he's making this defender's recovery even longer. Like, look, if he comes off aggressive, let's say he just comes off the screen like full speed right away. Look at where the last line of defense is. He pauses. Look at now, he's all the way up to the elbow. So Kingston instead waits. Now this last line of defense is like, crap, look at how much momentum or room I've got to cover. Instead, Kingston bullet pass. That's great. All right, folks, last one. This is what I call the showstopper, which is with Tape Time, we're going to be doing that all the time. Like one of my favorite plays of all, the sell, if you want to be for Kingston Flemings here. Milos is going to hit him. ISO opportunity. Woo, stop on a dime, finish. And that's what makes him so dangerous. It's not just the elite speed. It's not the ability to blow by defenders. It's not just the pull-up or the playmaking. It's the gears and the ability to get back into that top speed right away is what makes Kingston so good. And it's that paired with how he can just all of a sudden gather himself so quickly when he's trying to finish around the basket. So let's play that full speed. So Kingston's going to analyze the floor right here. Looks like we're almost, big man's trying to come up to almost set an on-ball screen. Kingston's like, no, stay away. This game was awesome because it was after Kingston had a kind of and I'm going to do an off-night segment. If you haven't checked it out, go check out the No Ceilings YouTube channel that you're already on. But go look for my off-night. I did an AJ DeBanza video, but I'm going to do one on Kingston of a game that he had before. Against Syracuse, he had a rough night shooting, but he was fantastic in that game with the playmaking. So, look, stay away. I'm feeling it tonight. I saw opportunity. All right, let me attack. Look at the little ball fake. I'm geek out on this stuff. Little ball fake. Get the feet moving for the defense. Drive. Make them react. Behind the back. That's a great counter. Look at where they're at right now. And now I got a full head of steam. Boom. And you see when he just glides through the air, but it's like composed when he wants to go for a shot. Like, okay, all of a sudden he can gather himself. So full speed, that's just beautiful quickness. This is impossible to defend because it's just lightning quick counter and getting back to that fifth gear right away. Beautiful.